No. Oh no. Don't make fun of me. Don't. Don't make fun of me. Because I forgot. YouTube is stupid. And you have to press two buttons to go to live. Yes, I was wondering why no one was responding to me. Hi, Demo. I'm doing good. Uh, I'm having actually, no, I'm having a terrible time. I've just been talking to myself in my recording closet for like 20 minutes now. I've just, I've just been acting like a crazy person. So my chat is working now. Okay, so okay, there we go. Uh, I have been. I said hello to you. Like, I've said hello to everyone like 3 times because something kept on messing up. And then I come to realize that I forgot to hit go live on YouTube Zen. I hit it on my I hit it on my end, but no, YouTube's like, no, that's not good enough. We want it from both your end and our end just to make triply sure. And now I'm sad. I've been just talking to myself for 20 minutes and no one's been watching me. No. I promise. I actually know what I'm doing somewhat. uh, but. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Why? So for fourth time's the charm, guys. That so you yeah. So given what everyone can see now, y'all can see me. So I'm just going to assume everything's right. Going to move this a bit closer. All right, let's actually move this into recording place. No, closer. There we go. There we go. That's a bit closer. Now everyone can hear me properly. Well, hello and welcome to the live stream. Better night late than never, right? Especially since we've both been here the entire time. Yeah. So, welcome, Demo. Welcome, Elite. Welcome, Ionic. V, nice to see you. And Desk, no, I'm not going to watch Gurren Lagann quite yet. I'm going to, but not quite yet. It's an undead. It's a stream where we were both seeing what everyone else was doing, but no one could see the other. As I could no, it's a one-way mirror of a stream. I could see you interacting with things, but you couldn't see me doing it, and that's where. And that's where things went horribly wrong. I was wondering why you were talking about me just forgetting how to use the software. I'm like, because my mic wasn't working, and I was like, "Yeah, no, Desk, it works now. You don't have it's work. I know how to use the software." And it turns out I didn't because I needed to hit live again. But anyway, I'm not going to pay attention to that anymore. So, I have to try and remember what all I said. I don't remember a good chunk of it because that was like 10 minutes ago, and I can't remember that far past. But I do remember that's been like 2 months since I've chatted to y'all last. And that's not okay. I wanted to stream at least once a month this year, and I can't do it, but oh well. Oh well, water under the bridge, but it's nice to see y'all again. Welcome. And thanks for coming, and thanks for joining me. Gotta practice my comedic hyperbole. Well, the thing is that we saw the comedic hyperbole. I just interpreted it as a different problem instead of the actual problem that it was. So it was kind of like I almost want to say it's a Three Stooges sort of situation, or I guess it's kind of more like The Office. I don't know. I haven't seen either of those. Yes, I know it's hyperbole. Hyperbole. I'm going to call it hyperbole just to annoy Desk. Also, that's what most people I know call it. So it's hyperbole. I pronounce it everyone that I've known calls it hyperbole, uh, unless they want to be really, unless they're in English class and then they call it hyperbole. But outside of English class, they call it hyperbole. The entire state of Utah and Colorado and Nevada are wrong. All right. Just like a three quarter, just like an eighth of the country is wrong. All right, sounds good. Those you know are lost. Uh, we're discussing phonics because apparently they do not work for us. Hey, it's a bunch of states made up of farmers. What do you expect? Am I right or am I right? But that sounds weird. That did some. I swear, I just heard a weird noise. Did anyone else hear that weird noise? It made me forget completely what I forgot. That no weird noise. All right. I mean English. Uh, English is weird, anyways. So people mispronouncing things all the time is probably very accurate. Those you demo breaking in. All right, sounds good. We'll have fun times afterwards. So, uh, I forget my train of thought has long since derailed. Long since. Like if you were expecting a train wreck to happen, that happened like 30 years ago, which is weird because I'm not even that old. So, good luck raiding my fridge. It has nothing in it. Absolutely nothing because grocery shopping is tomorrow. Yeah, you're welcome to the ramen. How do you steal a sea shanty? Uh, all right, I'll play along. You'll steal the you'll steal all my Wellermans. No, my Wellermans. Yeah, English and pronunciation of that sort is weird because no one can agree how things are pronounced half the time, anyways. Like, for example, me and a couple of people that I was talking to just before stream couldn't decide whether one of the Minecraft mods is called Ex Nihilo or Nex Nihilo or Nihilo, or I don't even know how to pronounce it. I've always heard it as Ex Nihilo, and I think it's Latin for from nothing. So I don't know how to pronounce that. Probably they don't either. And we're just all coming to the wrong conclusions. And Desk is probably going to come in with it's actually pronounced ex nihilo. So it is Nilio. Yeah. Nilio. Salty! Welcome, Salty! Wasn't expecting. Nilio. So see, even you and Desk, Salty, you and Desk can't agree on the pronunciations either. Nilio or Neil-io. Welcome to the stream, Salty. Glad you could make it. Man, now people that it's kind of weird. be able to see you but not talk to you, but I can't talk to anyone on stream because those are special occasion streams. Nileo. So, okay. So, everyone. Nile? E-O. Bill Nileo. Yes, Bill Nileo. We're going to call it Nene. Oh, man. And also, that emote, I only know it as a whack because I watched Vex way back in the... Did any of y'all ever watch Minecraft when it was still going? You know, the whole, like, B-double-O and Seth Bling and Vex and Etho and Paul Source Jr., all those the first generation of Minecraft YouTubers getting together on a server. And then that was promptly replaced with Hermitcraft. Yes, and a very angry, a very angry. I just realized that now sounds like a Waluigi. That's the Waluigi emote. Let's go. Bill, 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 Bill. So thank you for bringing the train back around. I don't know how you got it back on the tracks in the first place, but we are reading Cold Brew at chapter 48. Cold Brew. It's either 48 or 50. I can't remember. I think it's 48. Chapter 48, Cold Brew. We read half of it like 2 months ago, and now we're going to read the other half today. And maybe, if we're ever so lucky, maybe get into the first half of the next one, which is Slow Roast. I don't know what happened to these. How cold is it? How cold is it brewed? I would say it's a good 32. No, not 32. That's freezing. A good 37. That's a good fridge temperature, 37. Or I will steal the booze. Aha, joke's on you. It's all my roommates. But yeah, I don't know how all the Bat Pony chapters got yeeted from my hard drive, so we're just gonna do it again. 32 Kelvin. Man, 32 Kelvin, that's gonna be frigid. So you're gonna buy me some, then steal it. Interesting. I don't know whether it would be... I'm probably going to guess Fahrenheit. Elite, I'm going to say Fahrenheit, just because if it was Celsius, it would be very hot indeed, and that's not a good temperature for fridges. But if it was 32 Kelvin, that would be beyond frozen right there. Also, welcome, Lav. welcome, Lavy. Glad you could pop on by. Tell everyone back in that server, hoy. All right, so which also means, since this is cold brew, I haven't actually done, which means y'all have to remind me or help me find how to do pristine grind. I don't know why the Bat Ponies went poof. I just remember I was going to edit this chapter, and so that way all y'all lovely folks could read it, and then I couldn't find it anywhere. Even in my backups. Even my backups went poof. So I have no idea where it happened. I mean, if it's in a vacuum, you could boil it even at 32 Kelvin. You're not wrong. Which actually kind of reminds me of Artemis. It's this great book. I highly recommend it. It's written by the same guy who wrote The Martian and Project Hail Mary. Oh, Project Hail Mary. If y'all haven't read Project Hail Mary or The Martian, go read it. Read it right now. They're like the best hard science fiction I've ever read, and they're so good. But they in Artemis, it's all about this moon city that is in the kind of the far flung future, and it the whole thing is that like the whole thing is pressurized at like only a third of atmosphere, but with like pure oxygen and whatnot and all that fun stuff. So uh, so they talk about how on the moon boiling point is greatly lowered, so you'll at most get your boiling hot coffee is lukewarm at best, and usually people from Earth don't like it at all because it's not hot, but it can't get any hotter. It won the funniest comedy of the year. It was great. Are you talking about the movie or the book? Because I could see both doing it. It's also really funny how the book roasted the movie before the movie even came out. Because because like the last bit of the book is like, because everyone's probably seen Matt Damon, Matt Damon's Mark Watney, by this point, where they're all in the airlock and hugging each other. They pointed that out in the book that if this was a movie, everyone would probably be all gathered in the cockpit or gathered in the airlock to welcome him back. But no, they still had to focus on flying the ship, so it was only the EVA specialists that were out helping him. So they, man, he was great at pre-roasting the movie, and the movie still did that. It was great. Bro, how would a human survive in Artemis? You got you. Thing is that I know these words, but another thing is I uh, I don't know how to pronounce that. If I heard it, I'd be able to know exactly what you're talking about. Blood boiling due to low pressure. Ah, I don't know. I mean, from the research that I didn't do, but other people have told me that they did, like Nova Science Now, my one of my favorite shows, uh, Ebelism, Ebelism. But it was something that like if even at one third of an atmosphere, humans are fine as long as there's enough oxygen or something like that. And I'm also pretty sure like that's how like most of like the early space stuff happened too, was low pressure but pure oxygen. Something like that. I can't remember. It's kind of like the opposite of like uh of oxygen toxicity, I'd almost say. Where if it's too high of a pressure, then you'll die with too much oxygen. But it's like too low of pressure, you need all the oxygen. So yeah, I don't quote me on any of these things because I don't know what I'm talking about. I know a lot of random facts, so if we ever play Jackbox on stream, then I will destroy all y'all with my random with my random quotes of knowledge that I've picked up from just the weirdest rabbit holes that I've delved down into. Finally, some truth. Yeah, the thing is that I was playing Jackbox the other day. Uh, uh, yeah, this guy, we'll call him Uncle Jerry because that's what everyone calls him. It's kind of like Uncle from Jackie Chan Adventures, but we preface it with Uncle Jerry. So Uncle Jerry, we were playing Jackbox with him. We're playing the Wheel of Enormous Proportions. One of my favorite Jackbox. It's like what I wish Trivia Murder Party was. Because Trivia Murder Party, it's like you get all these things, but most people wouldn't know what they were. So the game doesn't. It lasts for a long time, but it's kind of frustrating for everyone unless you actually know exactly what's happening. But Wheel of Enormous Proportions, they're like more pop culture-y, and so people are more likely to know it, but it's way too short. I'm like, a perfect game of that would be the length of Trivia Murder Party with the nice questions that the Wheel of Enormous Proportions offers. I like how your stream starts and I immediately get phone calls and miss the first part. Always happens. Sad. But, so, back to the story. So, we were playing Wheel of Enormous Proportions, and I just kept winning. Uh, and Uncle Jerry is like, this is bull crap. You must be cheating. And so, but I just knew like I think he raged the most on matching ghosts with the franchise they're a part of, like Casper to Casper's Friendliest Ghosts, Slimer to Ghostbusters, and so on and so on. That Doctor Dude to the Sixth Sense, and all that stuff. It was great. I love that, and I was like, yeah. He has now for anytime we play Jackbox, he has banned me from playing that game with him because I'm too good at it. With the plans going swimming, we'll have to spill all those juicy secrets. I mean, what secret? I don't have. I've. To be honest, I live a very boring life. I have no secrets to spill. He still doesn't know where. You're just. Thing is, you can't just throw. Uh, you just can't throw darts at the alphabet and pretend that they're words, Desk. You just can't do that. Like, I mean, they tried to do it with How He's Odal, but everyone caught on a little bit. But you just can't throw darts at the alphabet and call it a word or a name. That's not how words work. Words work by every English in the known universe taking every language in the known universe taking English behind the shed and beating it with a rusty pipe. And that's how English is born. And then you can mess around with words and whatnot. And this is why I'm more of a math guy than an English guy, because math has rules, and English just contradicts itself constantly. Like, there's always an exception to every rule, but in math, it's concrete. It's hard. It's a hard evidence. I love it. Oh, so yeah, you just can't make stuff up, and yet and no, you can't quote Drax saying all words are made up, because yes, some words are made up, but other words. I like to see anyone anywhere describing you as an English guy. The only English guy about me is that I love to read books. To the point where even my own English teacher would take my books away from me in class because I would do my assignment and then start reading my own book, and they didn't like that, so they would take my books away. And I'm like, so you're saying I can't? You're saying I don't want you don't want me to read? And they're like, I didn't say that. And they're like, it sounds like that's what you're saying because you're taking away my book when I have nothing else to do. And then they got mad because I was undermining their authority. Yes, I was a bookworm, and also my favorite series to read uh, throughout elementary and junior high and even high school was Percy Jackson and the Olympians. My favorite series. I can't wait for the Disney. I can't wait for the show to come out. Book recommendations. Yes, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Hell of a good time. Will always recommend that. The Kane Chronicles by the same author, but it's like Percy Jackson, but with Egyptian gods instead of Greek gods. But they still are in the same universe too. It's really fun. Candy Shop War. Loved the Candy Shop War. I actually got my book signed by Brandon Moe when he visited my high school. Or no, he visited my elementary many, many years ago. Don't make me think about how many because I'll be sad. Uh, the last of the really great Wang Doodles, written by Mary Poppins. Great stuff. You know how you said you had no juicy secret? I would have to disagree. Yes, Percy Jackson does slap. I don't know. That's no, no, really, not really any juicy secrets. I'll be real. Oh wait, no, my juicy secrets. I do have one. I'm a horse. uh, what's another good book? So the thing is that, last of the really great Wang Doodles, written by Julia Roberts. Great stuff. Highly recommend it. Is my alter ego Rick Riordan, or Riordan? I've heard it pronounced both ways, so I don't know which one it is. I mean, I wish it was. I wish that'd be so much fun. um, the 39 Clues. Julia Roberts. You mean Julie Andrews? Probably, yeah. Hold on. I think she went by two different names. Let me grab my copy real quick. It's on my shelf. You're now making me curious. I'm going to go see. Let me check real quick because I'm going crazy. Is it here? Aha! Oh, that's why I was confused. There we go. That's why I was so confused. Okay, it's Edwards. Julie Edwards. Before she was married. That's what I was thinking of, and I don't know how I confused it with Julie Roberts, but yes, I always pronounced it Riordan, but everyone online that I've heard pronounce his name calls it Riordan, and I was really confused. But yes, Julie Andrews. Before she got married, she wrote the last of the really great Wang Doodles. Great fiction story. I love it. Eh. It was written back in. There's. Where is it? 1974. Man. Didn't realize how old this book was. Last of the really great way. It's kind of funny how I got this book because my mom worked for a school, and they were getting rid of all their old books, and she knew I liked this one because I think my class was doing a reading of this book. Let's see, when was this? Oh, it doesn't give a year of when it was sold to me, but we were no longer property of Davis School District. Yeah. Man, this seems such a long book when I was like, I need to reread this book because it was so much fun. But anyways, I no more reminiscing about about one of my favorite books. uh, but yeah, uh, yeah, we were reading that in class, and my mom worked at a different school. When she saw that this was on sale, and she knew how much I liked it, she bought it from the book sale that they were having. So now I own it, and it's like a really old copy too. And it's great. Highly recommend it. Uh, let's see, what other books? Now, if you want to get into horse books, uh, I will say, uh, one of my favorite series is the Savage Sky series. First book being The Fall of the Forest. Great stuff, especially if you are really into like martial arts and whatnot, because that book is all about. Because that series is like it's one of the main focuses of it, but you don't really need to be into it in order to enjoy it. Really good slice of life adventure stories, really fun. Uh, Other book recommendation. Let me look at my shelf again because I need to return this book before it gets water accidentally spilt on it. I have many recommendations because I love books. Where's all my stuff? That's a good one. Yeah. Oh, yes. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Yeah. So, so I almost forgot about this book, but it's like one of my favorite sci-fi stories. It's called "What I've Become." Now, this is a really interesting one because it has both a pony version and a non-pony version to it. Because it was originally written uh, as a horse work, but then the author made it uh, into a non-horse words so that he could sell it, and it's a great story. I highly recommend the story. One of my favorite sci-fi stuff. Uh, Julie Andrews was married to Blake Edwards, so he used his name for. Oh, interesting. I just I never looked into it any further because my parents were like, yeah, it's Mary Poppins before she got married. And I was like, oh, cool. Anyways, uh, but yeah, those are my top book recommendations. And I'm recommending them because they're the books on my shelf. And if they're on my shelf, I really enjoyed them. Or I didn't want to miss out, like with Fallout Equestria Duck and Cover. Haven't read it. I heard it's great. I might read it later. Married Poppins, exactly. It's the actress that played Mary Poppins, but then she got married. So yeah, I guess it would be Married Poppins. So train derailed again. So anyways, so anyway, those are my top book recommendations. But yeah, I would say like especially for the Percy Jackson series, I've read that I've read that series probably over 20 times front to back because I've enjoyed those stories so much, and I might go through another reread soon. Idle story can't really be told without horse words. That is probably very true. I don't know. You could incorporate making your own shape shifting race. It could even be about aliens instead. Who knows? Like uh, you could. I don't know. Idle story could be told. Should it? Probably not, but if you really wanted to, you could. The next live stream was him reading Percy Jackson fanfics. I actually haven't ran into too many Percy Jackson fanfics, though at the same time, I don't really go on AO3 all that often. In fact, the actually, the only Percy Jackson fanfic that I've ran across is written by our very own Carapace. uh, he wrote a Harry Potter and Percy Jackson crossover. And it looks really good. They haven't touched it in like a year, now, but it had a lot of promise. I really enjoyed the first couple chapters that he put out. Oh, there's this other book that I highly recommend. Thing is, I I've been trying to find this book for like a decade now, and so this book that I only know I know basically the entire plot of the book, but I don't remember the name. And if you look up the plot, you cannot find the book that this is. So if anyone knows what this book is, please tell me the title of it because I've been dying to try and get my hands on a copy for ages now. So to preface this, I read it when I was in junior high. Don't know how old the book was at the time. And it's about the, the start of it. So this is also spoilers for the book, uh, for anyone that's been wanting to read this book, because I've been trying to find a copy for so long, but it's really hard to find a book without the book title, so that's an issue. So what happens is it's all about time travelers, and as it turns out, there's a time traveler there's time travel police. They basically make it so no one can change the timeline too much. Uh, and they are and there's dozens of time and there's these dozens of like basically time cops put out through uh actually they say that there's dozens, but we only ever see the three that the story's about. Uh they are and these time travelers, they're like teenagers, maybe like bordering on adults, I can't really remember, but they're all taken from like moments before their death. They're taken from the time stream to basically act as guards. One was taken from the halls of the Titanic right before he was about to drown. Another was like a plane before it crashed, and like so on and so on. And they basically and they uh, are put in a time loop between September 10th and September 11th of 2001 on a constant loop because, as we're told, they the two extremes of those days make it so it's really easy to spot any changes in the time stream, any significant changes in the time stream that they would be able to go and stop. And so the whole book, so from the future, even further in the future, basically resource wars and whatnot. The population has outgrown the planet, and uh, this group of people, uh, the it's a group of madmen because they're like because they decide that, man, with how overgrown the population got and how out of control our consumption got, the only person in history that if we put in power could stop all this is Hitler. So they go back in time to World War II to help the Nazis win. And so now it's a race against the clock to for these for these teenagers to go back in time to stop other meddling time travelers from bringing about this world. And it actually even gets worse because once the once the bad guys figure out that we have time police on our trail, they're like, and they're going to try and set the timeline right. They're like, there is no hope for the future, so I'm just going to nuke the future. And he nukes the future at all space and time, creating mutants everywhere. And it also knocks out the power for the time loop of the people who are trapped in the present, because there's three people there's three people in this organization that they know about. Two of them basically do research and maintain the property, and one person is charged with going backwards in time because it's actually really stressful to constantly go back and forth between time streams, and you will like age like 3 or 4 times faster. Although they don't know this at the beginning of the book, so they basically all communicate with each other to try and stop these changes from happening. But uh, but until the timeline resets, the people in the present in the time looping facility, they are stuck without power, emergency backup generators, as as the whole world is like just rubble all around them, it is it is so insane because holy shit. Like one of them gets eaten by mutants at one point before they can reset the timeline, and they actually finally do reset the whole timeline and whatnot, and she comes back with no memory of the whole event because the looping days started over again for them, and it sounded like a great start to a series, and I have no idea what the book's title is. And if you search up anything, if you try and search up the plot, it doesn't yield anything, and I'm upset about it. So if any of you know what that book title is, please send it to me because I am very interested in rereading that story. uh, if only I could go back to my junior high self and tell him, write down that book title. You'll never remember it but it's so good. It's a complicated story, and I've paraphrased a lot of it because the kid that went back in time uh, actually also was actually forced into a labor camp because he was in the capital at the time when the Nazis took over. But anyways, uh, but it's a time travel book. It has to get complicated at some point. But they actually figure out that the perfect way to defeat the Reich is not to go back and prevent World War II. It's to go back even further and kill them as they're coming in to fight the as they come in to join the Nazis. So they have to even go back in time even further, and it's really interesting, and I really enjoy it. I'd really appreciate if anyone knew what that book is called. Even if it's ringing bells, please tell me, because I swear no one else has heard of this book. And it's making me go crazy because I'm like, I swear I didn't make this book up. I swear. But it's so good. but but anyways, I've, it's been an hour, so I think I now that I've told you one of my favorite books, I have no idea what the name of it is. I think now we can finally get into finishing up Cold Brew tonight. Oh man. I'm from a different timeline where that book actually does exist. I swear, right? I've been going crazy for years. Like I said, I've been trying to look for this book for a decade, like off and on and whatnot, but I've never met anyone that's also read this book. And I'm like, did was I the only one that read the only copy in existence or something? Because it was a really well written book, and I probably wouldn't like it as much nowadays, but at the time I was like, this is the best book hands down. It does time travel in a way that doesn't make it overly complicated, other than if you're trying to tell the plot to someone, because you're trying to condense a plot of a massive book down to like a few sentences instead. But it's so good, and like it's weird that I haven't ran into another person that's read this book. It's really weird, and I don't know why. But who knows? Maybe I time traveled myself. Turns out he read this during a high fever when he was in sixth grade and still thinks it's a published work. I know exactly when I read this. I read this in seventh grade, first year of middle school. So I read this seventh grade, and the most of the times I read it was during my woodshop class. Whenever because we had an advisory period, uh, where it was just basically do homework and whatnot. But I never really did homework, so I read instead, and I read most of this book in my woodshop classroom. Try and publish it yourself and wait for the author to sue you so you can get the name. Oh my gosh, could you imagine? Oh man. I mean, maybe. I have no idea how old that book is, though. And plus, I wouldn't remember all the nuances that they wrote in that book. I can remember the broad strokes, definitely. But it. So, if you find it, lawyer barges in all pissed and you just hug him and stop with joy. That is probably what would happen if I actually followed through with if I did that. That is 100% what would happen. Because I'd be like, finally! I couldn't find it anywhere. It took 4 years of constant writing. And I finally found the book. Thank you. I'll take it down immediately because I just wanted to have the book again. Oh. But yeah, I've tried looking it up so many times, but apparently there's a lot of books about either uh, time traveling in World War II, to Hitler time traveling, to who knows what else. So it's really hard to narrow down this one specific book. One thing that I always thought was really interesting about the story was that even though these kids kind of didn't want to be, they're kind of forced into this position. Like they have no choice but to say, but to join this organization, because they are taken like moments before they were going to die, and they are told in no uncertain terms that if they didn't join, they would be put back in the time stream where they were taken from. So they were just basically given an ultimatum: join or die. And they're like, yeah, we kind of like life. Also, it's really interesting, and also for the guy who arrived in 2012, or no, in 1912, who was on board the Titanic, is like, holy crap, there's lots of technology. Have a good night, Desk. Hope, see you probably in a couple of weeks when I stream again. Hopefully. But yeah, really, really fun stuff. The old guy that they were recruited by, like, leaves not too long after. And I say really old guy, he's actually like 30, but he was the main guy that traveled back in time. So he just he just ages more quickly than everyone else around him, and it was really interesting. But anyways, I think we should we read Cold Brew? I think we should read Cold Brew now. Unless you want to distract me more, which I'm fine with. But but I feel like we should probably get this. Next time you'll stream, I'll already be out of basic. Oh, you're going into basic trading? Good luck to you. Or if you're already in basic trading, good luck to you. Yeah, good luck. That's let's see if I can do my narrator voice. Yeah. Let's see if I can Do a changeling of the guard. There we go. Cook Cookie was understandably displeased that I had taken it upon myself to consume the princess's entire dinner, and her annoyance was well made. Her annoyance was various combinations of ingredients, and it was very tasty and well made. Cook Cookie was. Why is Cook Cookie the hardest name I've ever had to read? Cook Cookie was understandably displeased that I had taken it upon myself to consume the princess's entire dinner, and her annoyance was made all the more evident by the force with which she chopped the ingredients for another bowl of stew. Her mood was not improved when I mentioned the princess wished for more seasoning, which was met with the admonishment that her meals were currently designed around ease of digestion and not introducing anything that she was not already used to. This meant simple ingredients with less seasoning, and Cookie was already displeased by the hobbling of her skills. I imagine Sous Vide would be beside himself with apoplexy. What is. What? What? What the heck is this? Apoplexy. Unconscious cerebral hemorrhage or stroke. Incapacity or speechlessness caused by extreme anger. I've never heard of this one. Apoplexy. The thing is, apoplexy. Yeah. This meant simple ingredients with less seasoning, and Cookie was already displeased by the hobbling of her skills. I imagine Sous Vide would be beside himself with apoplexy at the notion of less seasoning, so perhaps I was lucky for her presence. I was banished to a small section and allowed to see to my own needs, and the order to provide something in excess of my charge's meal came to mind. I considered. Topaz had certain traditions when she was sick, such as hair of the dog and peppermint oil in boiling pot of water. Did I ever read these before? I could have sworn I have. I've never. I can't remember for the life of me that I've ever read Apoplexy before, but I know I have. I probably did. At one point, probably. Maybe. Let's see. Is there any evidence that I've actually read these before? I'm. Knife? Yeah. Cards and cafes getting coffee. Yes, I have. All right. So I have read these before, but I have no recollection of it. Maybe I traveled to another timeline. I was banished to a small section and allowed to see to my own needs, and the order to provide something in excess of my charge's meal came to mind. I considered. Topaz had certain traditions when she was sick, such as hair of the dog and peppermint oil in a boiling pot of water. The first seemed counterproductive, the second pleasant enough, though with her hair in a bun I was no longer required to help her hold it away from the boiling water. Her other tradition, I decided, that one could do nicely. I found the chocolate with ease, some heavy cream, butter, and a bit of cinnamon. I cheerfully ground up the harder ingredients, doused them with honey from my own hidden flask, and mixed the entirety into one concoction that I set to simmer. By the time I was done, so too had Cookie, and she soundly tore into me that I had forgotten the single most important part of a hot chocolate, placing several enormously large marshmallows into the pot. Cookie is quite possibly a genius. I could not imagine why Topaz had never done the same. I took the resulting mixture to the princess with her restored meal. I was somewhat gratified that Princess Luna downed her entire first cup with a muffled sound of true pleasure, drawn out until the mug was near I was somewhat gratified that Princess Luna downed her entire first cup with a muffled sound of true pleasure, drawn out until the mug was nearly vertical above her. The rest of her meal was quiet, but the princess cheerfully allowed me to refill her mug several more times and ordered me to enjoy a mug or two myself. I had to admit, I do good work. It actually, yeah, right? It does sound. Also, welcome. Uh, welcome. Hold on, let me. Whirlard Queek. Is that how you pronounce it? Whirler Queek? Warlord. Warlord Queek. Am I anywhere close to. I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. Warlord Queek. It was. Yay! I got there in the end. Yeah! I really need to watch Warhammer. Or not watch. I really need to read Warhammer because I've tried to read the wiki. It's great. I found that rabbit hole for several days, and I know maybe a tenth of a percent of the entire history of it. Also, welcome Hunter Master Gaming. Check Finfic to see if the chapter is marked off. Which chapter? Elite, which chapter are you talking about? Oh, wait, no, yeah. No, the thing is I've read all these several times. It's just there's a difference between reading them and reading them sometimes. Because I don't know if anyone else's brain does this, but sometimes I will read something, not absorb any of it, and then my brain will just try and knit things back together in a way that makes sense to it. So sometimes, like a throwaway line here or there, just doesn't get parsed into my brain. And that's how I've missed the entirety of the Ghostbusters reference several chapters earlier, as well as other things. I'm like, man, that is great. It's hilarious. And I'm sad that I didn't read it my first several times through. But now that I'm actually reading it, it's great. But yeah, welcome to the stream, Warlord Queek. Welcome. It's always great to see new faces around here, and old faces. Actually, it's great to see faces around here. Even though I can't see anyone's, I see it all the same. It's great seeing new names around, I get it. It's great seeing names. Welcome to the stream. The rules are to make it as hard for me to finish these chapters as much as possible, mostly by distracting. Distraction works wonders. And oh, welcome, buddy. Oh my gosh. Wait, oh, there's a book being written by Buddy. Idle who have stared at the confectionery before him. There's something unnatural to the shaping of a. There was something unnatural to shaping a block of chocolate into the shape of a long-eared rodent. Yet there was something he could only describe as visceral joy in the opportunity to bite the head off of something that reminded him of Fluttershy's familiar. Oh, that is great. That is a good one, buddy. Yes. Yeah, I could totally see that being a thing. Oh, that's good. That is a good one. But yes, welcome. Welcome, one and all, to the stream, where we'll try and get through the first Bat Pony chapter so that hopefully we can read through the second one next time. I mean, I still have like 45 minutes left, so I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. I read through a whole section. Hooves, the buck you doing? Hold on, I have to get back. Ah, it's been ages since I've done the guard voice. What's my favorite video game? Video game? So there's two answers to that question. Because there's two answers to that question. And why? Just because. there are two. There's one that's my favorite and one that is my favorite. Or no, I should say the one that I play all the time because it's my favorite, and the one that I play because, but I don't play that often. But it's also really good and my favorite. There's two favorite categories here. The first one, Minecraft. Minecraft I just play all the time. It's great. I love it. I can't wait for the warden to be added in because my death count will just soar through the roof with that. Uh, but I but that's a game that you just kind of have to play with friends. At least I do, or else I might get bored with it. I don't know. I'm trying out a skyblock thing, so that might change a little bit. And then there's a game that's my favorite, and I actually prefer to enjoy that it's only a single player game, and is fairly entertaining enough for me to not get bored while playing it because it's actually fairly difficult. It's called Tadpole Treble. It's a game that not a lot of people that I've talked to have heard about, but unlike that book, actually does for sure exists. uh, Tadpole Treble by Matthew Toronto is great. It's I don't even know how to describe it. I think they describe it as a action side scroller rhythm game. And I'm going to say rhythm game in quotes there because it's not that you're trying to hit the notes. You're trying to avoid the notes because the notes are obstacles in a level that you're swimming through as a tadpole as you're trying to get her back to her home. And it's adorable. Oh, you're building a Pony Finder character? Hell yeah! I actually have all the books from Pony Finder. Um, David Silver, great guy. Opinion on Left 4 Dead. Hold on, let me finish my Pony Finder. Uh, Great stuff. I've never played Pony Finder or even D&D for that matter, but uh, but awesome. Hell yeah. What species you go? A changeling, Pegasus, unicorn, other, Earth pony, crystal pony, griffin, hippogriff. I don't want to just list all the creatures off, but I could mostly. Opinion on Left 4 Dead, a great game. I've never played through it, but I never played through it myself. But living vicariously through people that have played through it is great game, and I enjoy the story behind it. Hell yeah, Pegasus. So, it's kind of funny because a friend of mine is also playing Pony Finder right now, and his character is a changeling, and he turned himself. And while they were in the middle of the Badlands Desert, and he's like, you know what? I know the perfect form to be in for this. And he turns himself into a diamond dog, which then he immediately curses himself out for. Is like, why did I pick something with fur? Yeah, it was. That's great. It's the best thing to always just watch him break the game in every way possible. And you know, I feel like if I were to create my OC nowadays, it would probably be more of a changeling uh, than a Pegasus. I chose Pegasus back when I first made my OC because I'm like, a flying's cool, and there's only 3 pony races to choose from, so I'll be a Pegasus. Because I want to, even though my personality and whatnot is more akin to an Earth pony than a Pegasus, I've realized. So, but I'm like, Earth ponies are boring. I don't I don't want to deal with magic bullshit, and so I'm just going to be a Pegasus. That was my feel. This is the thought process of Equinox back when during his sophomore year in high school, when he was first getting really deep into the fandom that he had been technically a part of for like 2 years at that point. He turned himself. That filled me with utter dread. uh, but but yeah, I'd say like as the years have gone on, and now I'm like, man, I kind of wish my character wasn't a Pegasus because it's kind of boring. Even though I do enjoy being a Pegasus, even though I do enjoy being a Pegasus, so I'm like, it's I'd probably pick more of an Earth Pony character or Changeling if I had to redesign my character now. But I'm not going to because I put my Pegasus on everything, and I don't want to retcon it being like, but he was a changeling the whole time. Ta-da! Your OC is a Pegasus. Your self-insert is a unicorn. I don't do heights. Yeah, I don't do heights. Actually, I've actually started doing heights. I actually have 2 characters because I've built into a backstory that Equinox is like a forest spirit of the Everfree and whatnot. Well, actually, he's merged with the forest spirit of the Everfree. The forest spirit of the Everfree being Solstice, because I like wordplay like that. Solstice is an Earth pony, and he's about the size of he's about the size of bulk biceps, but not so ungangly boof. He's not as swole as as bulk biceps, but he's as tall, which so he's like a good head taller than Big Mac. So he's unnaturally large for an Earth pony. But Equinox, he's small for a Pegasus. He's like half a head shorter than Rainbow, I would say. The real Pegasus was the changelings we made along the way. um, so yeah, I don't have exact heights. I'm just like when he's a spirit, he big. When he's a Pegasus, he's small, and then no one will suspect that that he is ever a forest spirit, because how could something that small be the giant colossus of an Earth pony? And plus, he has wings and is not an Earth pony compared to giant spirit dude. I wonder if someone can use Pony Finder and some creativity to make a Fallout Equestria game. Yeah, you could totally do a Fallout Equestria game. And when he is a pumpkin, he is delicious. You could probably grow some killer pumpkins. Actually, one of my friends is super into Fallout as well, to the point where they've kind of like just taken Blackjack as their own OC. Even kind of sorta. I'm not going to say taken, but like their favorite character is Blackjack, and so everything around them is Blackjack. But anyway, and we were talking about Fallout one time, and I'm like, man, if following the storyline, the backstory that I've made for Equinox, he would be totally messed up by by the mega spells. Ooh, Griffin Raider sounds cool. Uh, but so he would be I haven't decided yet how he would act in a Fallout universe, but he'd either be a hermit, uh, he would definitely be a hermit for one thing, but he would either be gone crazy with all the radiation poisoning that he's absorbed throughout the 200 years that he's been ruling over the forest and whatnot, to and maybe like the influence of all the irradiated plants as well, uh, or on another thing, he could just go a completely different way. Jack Black would make an awesome pony, probably. Blackjack and all but name. I don't know what an XP is. Um, I would almost say Blackjack and all but name. I would kind of say so, although they do exhibit a lot of traits that Blackjack does tend to exhibit. I would say it's more like an of an AU of Blackjack is what they've done with it. Then again, I want to see Mr. T voice a pony named Mr. Teapot. Oh, absolutely. She's a militarist, so she'd turn out fine until she doesn't. Dun dun dun. Exactly. But yeah, I could either have Nox totally be like a whole driven crazy by his own wards, pretty much just due to all the radiation and whatnot that the wasteland experiences, or he's basically been kicked out of the forest and lives as a recluse along the road because the forest is too dangerous for him, even though he's the living embodiment of the forest. Which doesn't make a lot of sense now that I say out loud, but sounded really cool in my head. Becomes Harold. I'm trying to remember who's Harold, because I'll be real. The first thing when I see the word Harold is I think of a helicopter, because uh, I've been watching a lot of retrospectives on Thomas the Tank Engine for like the last few months, and uh, first off, that show is a lot better than I remember it, and it's a great show. It's like the first MLP, I would almost say. Oh, he becomes the talking tree. That's right. Ah, yeah, kind of. He kind of become Harold. That's I guess that would be the third thing that he would that he might become, because Solstice is already kind of a tree. He's basically a tree golem, pretty much. Uh, but I don't know. He might get rooted in place or something like that. And Nox is just like thrown from the presence of the forest. We're like, don't come back, da 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 da, kind of deal. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting ways to take uh, uh, his character, mostly because it's not quite fleshed out all the way, but also because what happens to a forest spirit when the forest gets corrupted? Does it corrupt the spirit, or does the spirit get pushed out by the corruption? Even when being driven out makes sense too. He embodies the old spirit of the forest, not the new beast that takes over. He's like the embodiment of old war blues. Oh, that could be a cool thing. Uh, or the spirit might evolve to match the new world. The thing is that in Fallout Equestria, the forest is kind of messed up. This, like we don't see too much of the forest, but what we do know is that the poison joke becomes killer joke, which turn Fluttershy into a tree. So she's doing the Herald thing, like made people explode, like shot someone. If like if he matched that world, it would be almost like uh, he would just be basically an animal at that point. Uh, uh, or he would be just uh, Killing Joke was is just tailor made for the Joker. Oh, absolutely. That's what I call getting the last laugh. Am I right? Doo doo. but but yeah, I'd say like the one thing that could happen now that I think about it is that Equinox and Solstice are two separate beings, and technically Nox is just a pony that Solstice has been like partially possessing for the better part of several centuries. So I think what might happen is that the pony gets separated from the spirit in like, I don't know, anger or confusion or something like that. So you have the beast of the forest spirit left behind without the mentality of the horse to to like uh, taper the to tamp down on the anger of the forest. So it could you could just turn this into like a whole quest of Nox spending several decades trying to cure the forest in order to go back to it. Maybe even have him consider just joining the forest, either in life or death or something like that. So, something that sounds poetic and Fallouty, right? It could go several ways, and I'm very interested. But I also don't want to write a fan fiction either because that is a lot of hard work. I'll leave all the writing to V because he knows what he's doing. Yeah, there's so many Fallout, like, there's so many different ways that Fallout could go, and I'm very intrigued. Because there's, especially for like self inserts and whatnot. I saw one. It was just a picture of for if any of you know like Ty and Daga. He's like he was one of the MLP big MLP reviewers back in the day. Uh, he did one. He just did like an art cover of a book. Never actually written anything. It was like I think it was like the North Star or something like that. It was cool. Yeah, that's right. I know what I'm doing. V, you know what you do. We know that you know what you're doing. Well, you gotta. So, how many people get into Fallout from Fallout Equestria? Well, you got at least me. I had no idea what Fallout even was until I read Fallout Equestria. I had no idea it was even a crossover until I read it somewhere online, and I'm like, oh, this is a game too. I completely missed out, and then I fell in love with the Fallout series once I learned that it was an actual franchise outside of ponies. And I was just reading the Fallout Equestria, being like, man, this world is so intricate. How did they think of all this stuff? And now I look back and I'm like, ah, yes. When I was finding out nukes exist. What's these triangles for? I'm going to hit. Does this mean hit with hammer? Oh, yeah, they made it IRL. Exactly. Oh, man. So, yeah, like I found out it's kind of funny how many franchises I found out because of ponies. Mostly because I didn't really like. So the thing is I don't really play a lot of video games. I watch a lot of Let's Players, but I don't really play a lot of games. So I don't get into those. So I have never experienced those fandoms. So when it crosses over with ponies, I always think it's like, unless it's very obviously stated, I'd be like, man, this is a cool thing. Oh, they made a. Oh wait, no, this is a crossover. Holy crap, this is great! Like with Metro and with Warhammer, and with a lot of other. I didn't even hear about what Warhammer even was until I joined this server. All hail the Emperor and whatnot. But it's very funny how like the progress throughout uh, my teenagehood and into my early 20s of just me discovering all these franchises just because I read horse words about them. It's just kind of staggering. I'll be real. Most of it came from like when I was super into the Displaced fandom on FimFic, because that is just crossovers on top of crossovers all over there, and I found a crap ton that that was really fun. I don't read a lot of those nowadays, but it was fun. But it was fun while it lasted. All right, I was gonna do a military guy. That's you. And now, man, we're going on the hack. I want you all to keep up. And nearly every one of them can fly. There we go. Hooves, what the buck you doing? Patrolling, sir? I blinked rapidly. I'd been less attentive than usual. I would have to correct that. The captain took a deep breath through his nostrils, eyes closed. I can see that, Corporal Hooves. Allow me to rephrase. Why the buck are you patrolling? You're supposed to be on Luna duty. Because that is also my duty? Hooves, you are... Get V to voice the guards? Ooh, that'd be fun. Hooves, you are on special duty. Is special duty extra duty? Damn. Yes? I asked, hopeful that I would be allowed to be as such. Damn. Damn. God damn it. Ooh, interesting. Sounds like a plan. Damn. Damn. Yes? I asked, hopeful that I would be allowed to be such. A wide grin split his face. Tartarus, no it isn't. The grin vanished. You're working nights for Princess Luna. Your duty right now is to rest up and be prepared to serve appropriately when Shining Armor is off shift. Get your armor off, go, sleep, or rest somewhere, or do something relaxing that you do. Dismissed. And with that, he briskly trotted off. Disappointed, I looked around the palace gardens. Topaz was teaching, and her hours would not coincide with mine. I had not purchased clay for use at home, and I had been explicitly forbidden from working off shift. What was a royal guard to do if not guarding something? I eyed one of the statues, considered its state of disrepair, and made my decision. A trip to the market, and I was ready to begin. I do remember this. I do remember voicing this, and I had a lot of fun with it. I started from the bottom, working my way up. I cleansed every inch of it, doing my best to remove the ravages of time, nature. The ravages of time and nature. The thing is that if you're cleaning something, you want to work from the top down, so that way crap from the top doesn't leak onto the already clean stuff beneath it. So he's just doing more work for himself, if anything. I started from the bottom, working my way up. I cleansed every inch of it, doing my best to remove the ravages of time, nature, flora, and fauna alike. Moss and mildew stains were easy enough to remove. Lichen could be scraped off with a bit of care, and the occasional crack could be filled in. That was fine until I reached the bust. There, it became more complicated, the detail more intricate. I very, very, very delicately scratched a bit of lichen away from the horn, wiping away at it with a sponge. I very delicately scratched a bit of. I very delicately scratched a bit of lichen away from the horn, wiping it away, wiping away at it, wiping away at it. I very delicately scratched a bit of lichen away from the horn, wiping. Oh, I know what's tripping me up. There's two aways really close together. It's not wrong, but it's tricksy. It's a very tricksy thing to do. I very delicately scratched a bit of lichen away from the horn, wiping away at it with a sponge dipped in a mixture of soapy water and just a touch of vinegar. Almost done. A bit of marble crushed to a fine powder, just a bit of slime, and perfect. The horn was done. Finally was the part I had dreaded above all others. I took a deep breath, peering at the beard. There are bits of moss, chips of material, bird detritus, and everything else in his beard, and I could scarcely believe the detail that had gone into it. I retrieved my finest pick, as this would be the greatest test of my talents. I would not damage the statue, and it would be something the princesses could be proud of again. Quite honestly, this was a masterwork of whatever sculptor had done it. Quite honestly. Quite honestly, this was a masterwork of whatever sculptor had done it, and if I did damage it, I did not think Equestria would see its like again. Oh, right you are. Very right you are. As such, I feel I should be given a little forgiveness for becoming quite cross when I was interrupted after several hours of work. I haven't been drinking enough water this stream. Usually that's not a problem. But today it just turned into one. Let's see, how long did I say I would do it? 3 hours? Maybe, I don't know. Hello, Seth. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen you around. I don't think I've seen you around. But if I have, I'm sorry. I'm very forgetful. Hydrate, don't dehydrate, absolutely. But welcome, Seth. Welcome to the live stream. Glad you can drop on in. We're having a grand old time. We're getting to the part where Celestia's berating Idol for cleaning the Discord. Which is an odd sentence I didn't expect me to say at this time. Oh, Twilight Shimmer, gotcha. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. I will sometimes speak words, sometimes not. Alright, does this mean... Hold on. Does this mean Buddy is Abel du Sable? Is that... I'm guessing that's a... I'm going to guess that that's how you say that name. I don't know. Oh, thanks. Oh, thanks, I appreciate it. Sorry, I thought I heard something. But, Thanks. Thanks for dropping by too. I don't think I've seen you here before. If you have, again, sorry, I'm really really bad at remembering stuff, as everyone else can attest to. I forget how to say voices all the time. But yeah, we're just redoing. We're just in the middle of cold brew. How much longer do we got of cold brew? I'm gonna put that as a yes. uh, there we go. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what yours could be. Um, I don't know if I don't think it's Darth Raven or Darth Revan. Maybe All Star. No, actually, no. We've seen All Star here before. Oh, we haven't seen you two in the same chat room. Hmm. Huh. I don't know. It's a bit of a toughie. I also not in the Discord as much as I want to be. Hmm. It's tricky. I'll get back to you on that, Elite. I'll I'll try and find out which your Discord name. Where was I? Which one? There we go. I wasn't sure if I read that or not. All right, Celestia, but someone that is an angry Celestia. All right, that's fine, I guess. Fun fact: Celestia and Chrysalis have the same voice. Why? Because I couldn't do that many voices that 5 years ago. That's why. Oh no, it's actually almost been. It's actually about like 4.5 years since I started this, and I still haven't caught up to V. I don't know if that is a testament to how quickly he's putting out chapters, or how slowly I'm putting out my own. Oh, I'm sure I will be shocked. If I can't figure out by the end of the stream, you might need to ping me so I can know for future reference. Alright, so here we go. Alright, Corporal Hooves. It's really hard to do something forceful in her voice because it's not meant to really be a forceful voice. Also, there's several different ways to yell at someone. You either be a Corporal Hooves, like, which I'm going to call it the person is in another room and he can't be bothered to get up yell, which is just an attention grabbing yell. I still want to see him make the whole Fort Nowhere thing canon. Oh, absolutely. I totally want to see Fort Nowhere. It would be great, and I love how just intricately detailed Fort Nowhere is slowly becoming. At the same time, I feel like it would be much easier to introduce Idol, and I really wish Idol became canon because it's that like I don't know why, but it's always the toughest to find out, to figure out what Poison Joke does to people. Because like 9 times out of 10, if you ask someone what does Poison Joke do to their character, it's just more or less a, oh yeah, he is a different gender at this point. But it's just great that Idol is like actually a joke on is actually a really good joke on Isles of Fence, because I've seen changelings being affected by Poison Joke before, but the only time I've seen it was like they can. It was like a male changeling. It's like they can only transform into female forms, and and I was like, oh no, it's not one of those again. It started out as a joke, like most things on the server. It started out as a joke and grew exponentially, and it's like I'd say it's almost as detailed as V's world itself. Like at this point, someone could definitely write a Fort Nowhere spin-off and then just have Idlehoof's cameo in it. It could be a short story of Fort Nowhere and just have Idle cameo for like a chapter or two, and it'd be great. Where was? Oh, right, I was doing Yelling Celestia. Corporal Hoofs. Yeah, yeah. It's just all the princesses are very forward-facing and very airy because I didn't think I'd actually have to convey emotion while I was doing a princess voice. Ah, no. Uh, hmm. You have to make me choose between Elite. You can't make me choose that hard between Fort Nowhere or Officer Friendly. Uh, oh, Elite. Have you seen Elite in the server? I don't know if you two know each other, but uh, if I had to choose between Fort Nowhere or Officer Friendly, I'd say at this point Fort Nowhere is its own separate story. So I would actually prefer to see Officer Friendly in Changeling of the Guard because that is just definitely like a little side gag that could definitely fit in during the time warp uh, the time warp chapter, whereas Fort Nowhere could definitely be like its own spin-off story, and I would so as for the canon of the main series, definitely Officer Friendly. That's definitely where it would go. Let me just do a quick reaction. There we go. Either turning into a living Officer Friendly doll or being the inspiration for Officer Friendly is, I think, how it was originally like put was uh, he got he was accidentally exposed to Poison Joke. I think the original way was like a cult was trying to like prank his sister, or maybe or just prank someone in general, and they accidentally got on Idol instead. And then the next day he wakes up as a plushy version of himself. Can only turn into toy. He can only turn into other toys, and insists on still going to work, especially. And then that whole thing of uh, Celestia allowing him to still do his guard duties while still a plushy version, only to then be like, "Yeah, we're going to, uh, yeah, we're going to make him into a marketable plushie." Idol's poison joke is waking up as a princess. Ooh, that's an interesting one. uh, I don't know. I feel like that's more Chad Idol. Uh, Although it could definitely be. Yeah. Hmm. That's an interesting thing, because for Idol, both effects are hilarious when applied to him. Although the second one is more akin to what Discord does. Technically, he doesn't turn into a princess, but he does turn into Chad hooves, which uh, which basically becomes Prince for a day. But yeah, like that's almost like opposite idol, discorded idol, which I've always just called Chad Hooves because that's what he acts like. And someone said that, and I'm like, yes, that's the only name I will associate with discorded hooves from now on is Chad Hooves. Pickle, no! But yeah, both of them could definitely fit. And I definitely want an idle marketable plushie. Thing is if we do get a Idle Hooves plush, it will both be a reference to the story as well as officer friendly at the same time. The only difference is that officer friendly definitely needs a voice box. I'd be definitely willing to do idle voices. To put in a voice box, that'd be great. Let's see. Let's see. Corporal Hooves? My sponge squeezed. My sponge squeezed. My sponge squeezed, letting potentially damaging amounts of vinegar dribble down the beard. I gave a grunt, catching them as fast as possible, and very, very gingerly scraping the tip of my pick through the fine marble hairs one last time, breathing a sigh of relief. Oh, that would be so hard. Like, don't you have... I don't know how you would do that, though. You'd probably either have to do, like, a AI sort of thing, or you just have to do a lookup table of me doing all, or no, I guess it's just a voice synthesizer. But I don't know how to do a voice synthesizer like that. I really don't. And I don't know how toys do it either. So if anyone knows how to do that, let me know, because now I'm very interested. I might even do a how it's made thing to see if it ever divulges something like that. My apologies, Your Highness. How may I assist? My apologies, Your Highness. How may I assist? And then I notice a squad of my fellow guards in full armor, leveling various weapons at me. Oh! Oh, could you imagine? Oh, what was it? A thing of... I think I heard someone throwing around the idea of Idol could only talk when his string was pulled, or something like that. Although the best part is that my favorite version of that is uh, Idol forcibly getting his pull string pulled, and he does not like it one bit. But he's so small that they can't resist. That's just funny. That's just really good. Please get terse but not angry. How does one do terse but not angry? Because usually terse is always linked with anger. Maybe I should look up what terse actually means. Google. Sparring and abrupt. Okay. So I did know what it meant. How now, brown cow? What? Idol's the last person who needs to be turned into push to talk. Oh, that'll be hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, officer friendly for me turned from a really funny idea that I would really want to see in the fic to a great idea that I absolutely need to be in the fic. With the whole uh, uh, with the rescuing the filly in the burning building thing, and uh, she's only not scared because she's being rescued by Officer Friendly. And when someone wrote out that scene, I'm like, that is too adorable, and I would totally see this in, and I would totally love to see this in the fic. And that's where I fell in love with Officer Friendly the most is that scene. Please get down, she ordered, terse but not angry. I began to consider that I had lost track of time, but no, Shining should still be on duty. Please do not accost the guard on duty. Please do not accost the guard. Please do not accost the guard on duty. If you pull a string too much at one go. Of course, Your Highness. I eased myself down, taking a good look at the statue. No, it was still misshapen, lopsided, and ugly, but it was still an amazing piece, and the detail was all the clearer for its new cleaning. Her tension was clear, and I was aware that I had overstepped, bowing low. Forgive me, Your Highness. I was told my duties for the day were relegated to assisting your sister, and having nothing better to do, decided to work on one of the statues. With the gala coming, I felt it was important to do some minor work that might be overlooked. The statue is a most impressive piece, after all. Princess Celestia marched around the statue, inspecting it closely for even the slightest flaw. I bit my lip. Inappropriate, true, but I had never had my work so carefully scrutinized. It seems unharmed. Better than it. It seems unharmed. Better than it was, truth be told. Truth be told. It seems unharmed. Better than it was, truth be told. Her stern vision Her stern visage softened, and she rubbed her chin thoughtfully. Corporal, in the future, I would prefer to be advised of any future. In the future, I'd be advised of any future. Corporal, I- Corporal, in the future, I would prefer to be advised of any future desire to repair the castle's statuary. But, honestly, it's like he's here again. I think he'd have appreciated my heart attack. Your Highness? Nothing, nothing. She took a deep breath. You may disperse, gentle colts. I believe all is well. Corporal, I believe shining armor is due to be replaced shortly. Of course, Your Highness. Let's see. And yeah. I trotted off, giving a backwards glance at the statue. I then blinked, then peered at it more closely. A trick of the mind, I decided. I should indeed have slept. Why would the statue's taloned claw have clenched with one thumb pointed upward? Pointed towards the sky. The sky. Why would the statue's taloned claw have clenched with one thumb pointed up? Why would the statue's taloned claw have clenched with one Why would the statue's taloned claw have clenched with one thumb pointed towards the sky anyways? Gotta admit, the universe in COGG is a wonderful playground. Oh, absolutely. It's almost made like all the better just because it is definitely canon to the show. Like, there is nothing that prohibits it from being completely canon to the show. And as far as I've seen, uh, there is no other fic that I've seen, at least, that uh, does the same thing. And it must be so tricky to work around all the lore that the show puts in, especially when writing it before the show's even halfway done. Discord's probably enjoying the chaos brings simply by being there. Oh, absolutely. Although we do learn later that he is absolutely embarrassed by Discord's by the deep cleaning he got from Idol. Oh man, that awkward, that awkward situation was so funny. I'm like, when I saw that it was the Discord, I'm like, are they going to bring it up? And then they did. I'm like, yeah, the awkward tension there was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The best kind of chaos. Nope. Is it just me, or is it like it seems like some of the best kind of chaos is the ones that you can kind of sort of see coming? I found Shining leaving his post early, but could not begin to bring myself to be cross with him. Shining, you seem to be carrying a fireball. His eye twitched, and he forced the words through clenched teeth in a ghastly smile. Philomena. Oh, well, hold on. Shit. How do I say Shining's voice? Ah, no. Dude, I remember it was really raspy. Idol gave him such a good deep tissue that Discord did some things led to the most awkward 100% tip out there. Though now that I think about it, the bits of stone that Idol mixed with slime to patch up cracks and whatnot, did that A, cover up that Discord was slowly escaping, or B, did that just become part of Discord? Does he just have some changeling slime in his fur? Or C, uh, if it didn't become a part of him, did he just when he broke out of his stoned when he broke out of being stoned, did he just like have some like little patch marks of marble just all over him? I'll extended his sentence. Ooh, that'd be interesting. Although if I don't know if he extended his sentence because it was still about 1,000 years ago. I saw this cute image of my head of Whammy being in the wash. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Idol turning into Whammy just so, just so that his uh, goddaughter wouldn't cry. I'm going to actually just say his niece because he's practically Uncle Idol at this point. but, but yeah, there's like three possibilities for what happened to the changeling slime that was part of the statue, and it's never brought up. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think Discord mentioned anything like that. He actually mentions how his beard's never been so soft before. So I'm wondering if, like, he just got a little, like all that just became part of him. Like, of course, Idol will be named Godfather. We haven't seen Shining interact with too many other people. Uh, like, maybe Bold. I don't know. I haven't seen Idol interact with, or I haven't seen Shining interact with Bold that often, but I could somewhat see it. But Idol is like the obvious choice, at least before the wedding, and maybe even after the wedding. Who knows? Like, that relationship is still kind of up in the air at this point. Idol makes her offers she can't refuse. Would you like a whammy? Or would you like a whammy? They might as well be brothers? Oh, absolutely. Uh, I would almost say, yeah, they're definitely more brothers than anything at this point. Because not only because they went through, but but Shining was also a major part of Idol's of Idol building his identity as a pony as well. Like, you could argue it a few ways, but I would I would say that, like, almost the basis of Idol, most of it comes from his interactions with Shining, because he was probably with Shining longer than anyone else besides Topaz for those 10 years that he served as a guard. And it's really it would be very changeling of him to mimic the personality of one he spent so much time around. But it's still just, but considering he also lives with other people, it's just different enough that it doesn't come across uncanny. And the bond that they share, they are definitely brothers at that point. Who wins in a fight between Whammy and Smarty Pants? Hmm. Thing is that you're saying backed up by Flurry, backed up by Twilight and the entirety of Ponyville. Yeah, probably the wanted needed spell is off the table at this point. But at the same time, we're saying backed up by dolls. So, and we have seen Twilight deflect at the very least uh, Flurry Heart spells before. So if it was like a death battle sort of situation, uh, definitely Smarty Pants. Though in all reality, it's going to be Flurry Heart. It's whatever Flurry Heart wants, because uh, the youngest one always wins. The child always wins. When Idle and Shining makeup, it'll make things a lot smoother when Thorax eventually arrives. Very true. Uh, Although I'm not sure how far uh, V wanted to write the story past the wedding. He says that it's not ending anytime soon, but I'd almost like where the story is. Like, you had your, yes, it's all slice of life and whatnot, but you kind of had the adventure. You had the thing that everything was building up towards the climax that everyone saw coming, because anyone who's watched the show was like, oh, the wedding. That's the so that's like the climax of this book, unless there's an even bigger climax coming, which, holy crap, I can't wait. But I'd almost say that we're in like uh, the third act of everything. So I'd almost wonder if Idol does uh, Uh, when Idle and Shining do make up, is that going to be the end of Changeling of the Guard? Maybe sequel baiting? Maybe sequel? Or is it just going to keep going? I don't know. I don't know V's plans. Let's see. Uh, I hope Discord likes reggae, seeing that he was stoned for 1,000 years. Nice. I mean, Flurry destroyed the Crystal Heart just by crying. True, but they did. But at the end of that episode, they did make it so that her power was nerfed quite a bit. They didn't explain how they did it. They just said that they nerfed her power so it wouldn't happen again. There is the second Changeling invasion. That might be good for a book too. How's the chaos going? It's going pretty well. We're discussing semantics. And how a book is going to end, despite the author not giving any hints that the book is going to end anytime soon. They actually basically won, and they know about Idle now, so that'll be interesting. True. Very true. But the thing I'm most interested in is it's really interesting how things might go, because Shining has calmed down quite a bit from knocking Idle's lights out, but at the same time, how do we get from Shining now to Shining in season 3 or Shining in later seasons being like, there's no such thing as a good changeling? Is that just a cover story? Does he feel bad saying that, knowing one of his best friends is a changeling? Did something happen even more between Idle and Shining to make it that he hates changelings all the more? Does it cause tension in their relationships, knowing that he has to put up an act of being hateful towards all changelings, even though he knows that there are good changelings out there? Memory wipe spell? I don't know. Because I don't know if a memory wipe spell could be that helpful with Shining, especially since we've never seen evidence of memory wipe spells, at least as far as I know, in the show. So it could be the case that's a memory wipe spell. But at the same time, they... Hold on. Hi, Z! At the same time, they worked so close together, they roomed for years, for decades, that it almost makes you wonder that if they ever did do the memory wipe spell, like, something would have had to happen. Like, who did they replace? Hold on. Just wipe his memory about Idle in the small period after the wedding in order Idle to keep quiet. That's not a healthy way to do something like that. There are memory stones that can erase memories. Interesting. I've never actually seen the QG specials. I actually haven't seen anything Equestria Girls related after Rainbow Rocks, because that is my absolute favorite movie, and that is absolutely a banger of a movie, and I did not want to ruin it because it was such a good movie. But yeah, Celestia definitely won't approve of those. She doesn't even approve of Shining making Idle hide his true identity, because that's a healthy way to cope. So and that's in the latest chapters. I don't think that that's something that Celestia would approve of. Does Idle leave? Does he become, I don't know, does it become something else, like, I don't know, Flash Sentry? Could you imagine Idle being Flash Sentry? But then at the same time, it wouldn't make sense with all flirting. That, or all the perceived flirting that Guard Flash Sentry does with Twilight. I would rather want to see a chapter focus on Idol's daughter Circe's hanging out with Celestia. I think it would be cute. It would definitely be adorable. I don't know how Circe would deal with that. Either fangirling, because, oh my gosh, it's the princess. Or, especially now, Celestia trying to tell a child why their father can't come home. It's it would be adorable, but at the same time, I think it would be just as heartbreaking, if not more, than this last chapter. There's all sorts of ideas that you can play around with, and it's all so good. And it feels so good. Alright. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. And I feeling this way. I kind of want to get like a changeling perspective on about like where all the changelings are. Like, I love Circe. She's great. I kind of want to see how a chapter on Topaz dealing with everything. Who knows? Maybe Honey overheard her and Idol doing the deed the night of the wedding. I never said when the chapter could occur. It could just as easily be after everything blows over. That's also true, but we don't know when everything just blows over. This is like, with everything that's going on with with Idol, I don't think that there's a way that this could just blowing over, because it's such a huge thing. Because not only does one of like the most trusted guards in the entire military, that everyone knows is like the model guard, disappears, but you can't, and there's no real way to reintroduce him back to the guard, because you know you can't trust him, and even he admits he's an untrustworthy source. How do you cope with that? I don't even think that there's a way to cope with it. Like, sending him to the Crystal Empire is all well and good, but that's putting a band-aid on a problem, if there ever was one. And when it comes to changeling, I personally find the pre-colorful ones more cuter than the colorful ones. Same. Let's go. I do like the OG changelings more than the space Bambis. Although I do get what they were trying to go for. The iridescent look would look really cool, but they were let down with like the art style that they had to try and fit in the space Bambi. But that's what I was talking with someone. I think it was Sawtooth. I can't remember. It wasn't in the server, but we were talking about how in G5, how cool the new changelings would look in the G5 art style, and I hope that they like at least talk about what happened to the other races in G5, but that's a topic for a different day. No intention to wipe Shining's mind? Yay! Because because right now, with the whole Shining, there's no such thing as a good changeling. it just seems like, oh, like it almost seems when I saw that episode, I'm like, is he putting on a show? Like, I get that he's angry with changelings, but it's been several years at this point, and yeah, anger can fester and whatnot. But, and I understand that anger can fester, and not everyone deals with it in the same way. But the way that he was so vocal about it makes me want to think that he was putting on an act to make it seem like, yeah, changelings are still evil. No, 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 no. See, I was affected too by that because they don't mention it at all. Granted, they never had to mention it until that episode, but then they're like, let's take the common collective shining and just crank his anger up to 10 to like, he hates changelings. There's no such thing as a good changeling. And then he has a change of heart like within not that long at all. Like that almost seems like like how quick the change of heart was. Granted, it did happen during a song, and we all know that ponies love songs. So that could have happened. I don't know. It just seems like it was an act put on. So I'm almost wondering if it was an act, just to keep up, the was it called a changeling of heart? Yes. uh, the pretenses of being angry at an entire race when there was not really any need to, or just for the benefit of the populace more so than anything else. If I woke up in Equestria, I would seek out old Christy and ask, "Can I hug changelings?" Yeah, I've been trying to send him home. He won't go. Also, welcome Nemo. In the G5 movie, that pink tree was confirmed to be the Tree of Harmony. Izzy's home was Zikora's old house. Interesting. Yeah. There are maybe dozens who know about Idol, and they're all sworn to secrecy. That is very true. The rumors do spread. But at the same time, yeah, it almost seems like it's more of an act than anything with uh, with Shining in that episode. So, does Idol just move into the Crystal Empire permanently? That could work. The thing is that like the dozens of people who know about Idol, the maybe a dozen, the 10 or so people that know that Idol's a changeling. I mean, they're still like top echelons and whatnot, and they're not going to be just like, yeah, we're going to put him back into a high position of power because we like him, or to keep a pretense. It would be really hard to reintroduce Idol into the guard, just from their perspective. Like for every other guard, it's like, Idol, welcome back. Glad you didn't die and whatnot. But Idol knows that something's wrong with him, and it would definitely show because Idol does not have a poker face at all. Celestia could do it, probably. She's a politician after all. Although she couldn't act in that one episode of MLP, so who knows of how good of an acting she actually is. So, and then Shining's just running through his own issues. So there's a lot of issues to work out. Shining's like anger issues at Idol, which are kind of founded, but at the same time, kind of not. But Idol did do everything in his power to try and. Anyway, we have Shining's issues. You have Celestia's issues of trusting someone, or letting someone continue to do the role that they're going to do, even though that they're untrustworthy. Yes, the stream is going great. Something happens and Idol wakes up after the events of the G5 movie, and since a certain pony is the closest thing to a princess, decides to start a new guard. I want to see that. Just Idol becomes the guard for Izzy, the ghost alicorn. I can't wait for the explanation why Izzy's, or not Izzy, Sunny, that's her name. I can't. I'm interested in the explanation that they have for Sunny being like not really having wings and a horn, but having a ghostly wing and horn, because that would be really interesting. It's something, but something he really still really believes somewhat. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Then you have Celestia and Idol, who both know that he has a gesh on him, which I can't believe that word is how you pronounce that word, because I've always heard it as Geass, like in Code Geass, which is another anime that I've wanted to watch, but have it pronounced as a gesh, as just kind of, I don't like it. Sunny would grill Idol for details of the past. Oh, absolutely. Uh, but like Idol thinks he's untrustworthy, and Celestia has really no. And Celestia knows that he can't really be trusted, just because of the geshes he's been put under, including some by himself. So there's lots of issues to work through, but I've I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out, but it's interesting. It's really fun to think about, because there's so many different ways to pull it, and none of us are going to be right anyways. And V is just over there cackling that we're not going to be able to figure out what the next plot points are going to be, because he's always pulled the rug out from under us every single time, no matter how long we have. Idle is in definite need of some hugs. Welcome back, Desk. Yeah, we're talking about how G5 is great, and we can't wait to see the Skittlebugs in 3D. No, but we're probably going to be watching Code Geass instead. What was I doing? Oh yeah, Shining. That's right. Shining. How do I do a Shining? It's been ages since I've had to do a Shining. How? Hmm. And alrighty then. This is last of the water. Surfer Bro Shining. That is exactly how his voice sounds all the time. Do Skittlebugs taste like rainbows? I think Skittlebugs ate the rainbows, so they might taste like rainbows. They might. Okay. Surfer Bro. And no, that's too deep. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I was likely. There we go. I think that's as good a Shining as I'm gonna get. Alright. He is wanted by agents. He was in the field. You'll keep this to yourself, or there's gonna be an ugly smile for you. Oh. Shining being part of Smile? That would be it. That would be it. Or no. Idol being part of Smile? That would be fun. That would be really fun. Although we don't know when Smile was shuttered. It, like, from what it seems, it seems like the agency was shuttered before Bon Bon moved to Ponyville, or at least as an old contact. I don't know. so they're spicy. They certainly are. Yeah, they'll spice up any love life. Am I right? Doo doo. But Idol could have definitely been. Idol could definitely be in Smile. Like he would not be able to. He would not get all the secrecy. He could understand all the secrecy, but the I haven't seen anything about about Smile. In all honesty, other than it's what they call the agency that Bon Bon used to work for, at least in the fandom. But it's like I could just imagine like Idol being confused by some rituals or something that they do. It's like just ponies being ponies, pony madness and all of that. I wonder how Idol would deal with Cozy Glow, who nearly doomed the planet. I'd say he'd probably be a lot more successful than the guards that charged her and then fell into the moat. But it depends on which Cozy Glow you're talking about. If you're talking about just child Cozy Glow to begin with, he would just follow orders and whatnot. If it was Alicorn Cozy Glow, that's a different thing altogether. Um, I don't think Idol would do anything that he wasn't ordered. I don't know how Idol would deal with Cozy Glow. It like the only thing I could maybe think of is try and eat her anger or her want for something like this. I don't know. Uh, it also depends on whether or not she's been captured at that point. I'd almost say, like, if she was captured and just held in a prison cell, then he wouldn't do anything because, prisoners and whatnot. Can changelings feed on sociopaths? We don't know. V, can changelings feed on sociopaths? Well, Cozy does. Cozy, while Cozy might fit a sociopath, at the same time, she does get some feeling out of it. It's just not the one that you typically associate with the emotion. So she obviously is feeling something. If Idol goes to the point where he went with Topaz in Tabula Rasa, where she was all her motivation was taken, she might she does love power. If all of her motivation was taken away from her until she was listless, then that would work. It's not because when that happened to Topaz, she didn't even want to move or anything like that. No, emotionally they're already husks. Interesting. Sociopaths have emotions are just skewed from the societal norm. Interesting. I wonder what a fanfic with Chad Idol would be like. As in, he isn't changed back a bit. He would have control over Equestria in like a day. Oh, probably. But it's the thing is, would anyone question him? So it depends on whether or not the rest of the Equestria were changed back and it was just Chad Idol being Chad Idol. We do know that Celestia liked the change of pace with not being in charge or anything like that. So they might see it's like if she accepts it, the rest of the country might accept it. I don't know. I feel like this is kind of dipping into Guardlings a little bit. Because I feel like Idol and Guardlings could definitely take over the country if he wanted to. Oh, they feed on the emotions for people and things. Okay, so yeah, they're basically husks already. We choose to go. We choose to go to the moon. Been there, sucks. Always. Chad, I will tame the sun with ease. Yeah, he already did, kind of. So they can't feed on self-interest. I would assume not. Okay. So they. What about? Because Cozy Glow loves power. Can he feed on her love of power? That's the question, because she is always interested in gaining more. So I don't know, but if they can't feed on sociopaths, I would almost assume that Idol would do whatever it says is allowed to do to capture prisoners. Uh, Celestia being attacked itself, he might consider treason, and he might do whatever he is in his power to capture Cozy Glow. It puts Cersus in charge, and Cersus in face Celestia's disguise. Thing is, though, is that it's really hard for Cersus to be to be the size of Celestia, because any changes in size is just extra magic. Nope, no feeling on the power of power. Gotcha. But yeah, that's why Celestia is like that's why Pink Celestia is just a little full when Idol gets meter, because it's just so much energy intensive to be that size. Idol might have a bit better luck being Celestia, but probably the most that Cersus could maintain is like something similar size to her. How much electricity does the Equestria produce? I mean, we only see probably not that much, if I'm honest, Elite, because they really don't have need for it when they have magic. I recently read a Reddit page on Cozy. Among her listed crimes was treason. Also, the Big Jim was quoted as saying, when asked about Cozy's parents, who says she has them? Who says she has parents? Did her parent, is she an orphan? Does that, hold on. When asked about her parents, who says she has them? That's only two connotations, and it's either she's an orphan or she's just born or she was like a evil spell born, and it could honestly be either. This is a question. Anything goes. I bet Idol has stocks in sofas and quills. Probably. Bye. Bye, Nemo. Hope you have a good night. Thanks for dropping by. She was also very creative to make fake wings. Exactly. Although, wasn't that because Idol explicitly banning her from turning into an alicorn? Manhattan has lighting. Okay, that's fair. Earth ponies can't use a lighting spell. Well, thing is I'm not saying that, like enchantments. Enchantments exist. She need to, but she figured she'd need to the magic more than flying. Tech level differently. Magic kind of skews the estimates and it's really hard to pin down. So, elements of bastardy. Oh, that's great. So, I'd say that Equestria itself does not produce magic. What I do does not produce electricity. What I do think, though, is that it's very commonplace for for spells and enchantments to take the place of home lighting. Maybe at one point they did produce electricity, maybe in the form of coal gas, like back in the early days. But then with the combining of the But with the combining of all the things, that they get the benefits of unicorn spells, which probably also means enchantments as well, which would probably, which people would probably go for more than just having overhead wires and whatnot everywhere. Maybe Manhattan's like a special case where there's just too much in order for people to just power up independently, and so they might have electricity. But I'd almost say that uh, that most things are just run off of magic instead of electricity. They Earth ponies don't need to cast an enchantment. They get an enchantment from a unicorn, and then but the enchantment comes with like a toggle with it that they can turn it on and off to either produce light or not emit light. With no unicorns? Well, we see in Ponyville they have some unicorns, but not that many, and they don't really have much. Like Twilight has candles in the library. She doesn't have like electric lighting all too much, except for that lamp that Spike somehow got on their first night. But it's mainly just candlelight or fireplaces. Of course, we know G5 has electricity. And it can be charged by the magic of any of the three types. Exactly, V. Exactly. Because every pony type has magic. It's just unicorns were more flashy about it. Uh, there's been several stories that I've read where um, the ones that uh, go to the point of each of the different races have different lifespans due to their magic. Earth ponies have the longest lifespan, given that they are more hardy from their magic, their stamina, as well as like they just the more powerful practitioner, the more powerful an Earth pony is in tune with their magic. Like say, Big Mac, for example, he could be like the most powerful Earth pony, or that Viking pone, or was it Stonehoof, Stronghoof? I can't remember his name. Uh, could just be wells of Earth pony magic, and that just translates to a longer life, less likely to get injured or stuff like that. Unicorns having the second longest lifespan because of their healing spells and whatnot. And then Pegasi getting the short end of the stick because flying is dangerous. uh, especially for acrobatic flyers, like the Wonderbolts and whatnot. Uh, but just due to their own physiology, just doesn't really stand up to the test of time that Earth ponies and unicorns tend to. No, we're not talking. We're not. They don't use the clopper because because no. She's trying to figure out Pinkie Pie. No. Oh, like, no, V, no, why? I was going to make that joke, but then decided not to, and then you just did it anyway. No. uh, but they also have like the races, like their uh, lifespan extends into the hundreds of years because they figure magic probably extends your life unnaturally a long time, given that already horses and whatnot don't really have that long of lifespan on Earth. But a magical land of ponies, who knows? They could live for hundreds of years. I mean, they kind of put forward the idea that Granny Smith is like a few hundred years old, like maybe probably like right around 300, give or take. Vegas eyes live hard and fast. Oh, absolutely. um, The chapter that I'm. Oh, hi. Welcome, Pensive. The chapter I'm reading is Cold Brew. Uh, because it somehow got yeeted from my computer and we have no idea why. Uh, let's see. The one moth intention. Yeah, uh, yeah. The one where Idol cleans Discord's statue. uh, and then we meet Pristine Grinds for the first time. Uh, Twilight Secret Lab seems to be electricity based. The thing is that they kind of make it seem like there's electricity, but at the same time, they don't have anything that alludes to there being any connectivity anywhere. Like, there's no power lines, there's no outlets, as far as I've seen. And so that just makes it seem like maybe magic is producing electricity. Like, I don't know, maybe Twilight's using a lightning enchantment to operate all her machinery. It just might work off of magic too. Oh yeah, Mothi wanted idle on top of her again. Yeah. I don't know, like the tech level in Equestria seems very weird. It seems at the same time pre-industrial as well as modern simultaneously. So there could be electricity and could just all be run off of magic and we have no idea. Electrical systems are definitely plausible. Uh, just hook up a storm cloud to your to your equipment and you're all good. I mean, I think they went into they found electricity kind of like the same way we do because we saw during like some of the um what was it? The alternate timelines that like when Equestria was at war with Sombra in the Crystal Empire, the industrialization of Equestria went up 100 times fold to make it seem like they almost went through like their own industrial revolution and probably the introduction of widespread electricity over magic itself because magic was saved for the war effort. So I'd almost say like G5 found electricity the kind of almost the same way we did, losing, uh, losing the access to magic. You just find something else to light up the night instead. You go from magic back to candlelight and fireplaces, and then you slowly find your way back into electricity. Uh, I remember seeing uh, as so it's so something that I've actually was looking at before the movie came out, and they didn't mention this in the movie at all, so I'm going to mention it here. So do you all notice that the ponies had like fetlocks in the movies, right? And they didn't, and only a couple in in G4 had them. Well, I made a theory where I had a theory where um, basically the the hardship. I say hardship with like air quotes. Basically, how it's basically like the physical work that you have to do as a species as a pony relates to how your body uh, uh, you know grows and whatnot because we see like workers like Big Mac like have fetlocks and whatnot and almost like a throwback gene kind of deal and then we go to G5 and they all have them and I know it might even be just like a limit of the art style and whatnot, and I understand that. But at the same time, I was when I saw that, I was like, "That's really interesting," because we never saw ponies with hooves like that. Only very rarely, and then they're all there. So it almost makes it seem like the less magic that is around ponies and like the harder that they have to work, they're like backwards regressing into like their older forms. But now magic is brought back. Maybe future generations will go back to like the G4 style of what is it, the soft hoof versus the hard hoof debate that's going on right now, thanks to Alum. The harder you have to work, the harder your hooves get. But if you don't have to work that hard, then you get soft. then you're a soft hoof. Contain thunderheads. Oh, yeah, they had jars of lightning in the weather factory. That was fun. Oh yeah, so pensive. If you want yeah, yeah, they can. If you want to read a great story that actually did touch on that a little bit, uh, I highly recommend Savage Skies, the first book being Full of the Forest, because they go deep into the tribe's innate magic in that series, and it's wonderful. Didn't catch on with the unicorns. I mean, they might see it as like a pride thing for unicorns, because because it's like, oh, you don't have enough magic to provide your own lighting. Because it seems like they still do get some lighting from crystals, like the innate lighting in crystals. So it might just be more of a pride thing than anything. What was the most interesting for me, though, was how much more advanced the Pegasi became compared to the Earth Ponies and unicorns. Like, unicorns relied on magic so much that without it they became lost, and that's completely understandable. Uh, the more the pride, the farther the fall and whatnot. Uh, so it could be that like, but I would almost say like Earth ponies don't rely on magic that much, so they should be at the higher tech level than Pegasi. But Pegasi went along with it anyway. Maybe it's because their wings made it so they could do more intricate work. Because I'm always a fan of wing hands, because it just makes great artwork and really expressive too. Oh really? Oh, it's that late already? No. I didn't realize how late it was, and I rambled on for far too long, and we didn't even finish. uh, Wangs? Yeah, they got some wangs. Oh yeah, Zip almost seems like a mixture between Twilight and Rainbow. Love of flying, but also really nerdy as well. And it's great. Ah, sadly, guys, though, sadly, I think that is all the time I have for blame us in your chat. Oh, absolutely, I 100% blame everyone. Also, I just love discussing theories, anyways, so it's easy for me to fall in this trap. I think the Pegasi position compared to the Earth ponies is more to do with inherited wealth. More agricultural workers, not much access to industrial zones. That could make sense. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Yep. But anyway, thank y'all for coming out tonight. Uh, I'm not gonna make any promises, but I'm hoping that I can get another stream to y'all. Like, I'm gonna say the 21st. If not the 21st, then maybe the 28th. So we'll see how it goes, right? uh, Yeah, sorry, Pensive. We're ending at 7. I've been live for 3 hours now, and I was planning on 3 hours this time, but I have to go. I have to. I had some stuff I needed to get done tonight, but uh, uh, but we'll love to see you next time as well. Thank you all for coming out. And yes, I am not dead. Woo! It only took 2 months, but I got back. I always come back. Eventually. It just might take a lot longer. Alright. Well, I'll catch y'all later. Y'all have a wonderful night. And we'll see you next time. Have a great night. Bye.